This is Mackenzie Sharilla. She's a 17-year-old who was found
Right out of the gate, this case forces a huge legal question. When does a crash stop being an accident and become intentional homicide? Prosecutors had to prove not just recklessness, but purpose, and that's a much higher bar. So ask yourself, what kind of evidence would convince you that this wasn't just a tragic mistake?
found guilty of murder for causing a car crash that killed her boyfriend and his friend.
Mackenzie decided death was the ultimate goal that day. This was not reckless driving. This was murder.
Sharilla's boyfriend, Dominic Russo, and his friend, Davian Flanagan, were in the car when she crashed into the side of a commercial building outside of Cleveland, going 100 miles per hour. Both men were pronounced dead at the scene, and Sharilla survived. Prosecutors argued that the teen had a toxic relationship, and Sharilla had made violent threats against her boyfriend.
Threatened his property. She threatened to break into his house.
Correct.
Reportedly, she crashed her car on purpose because she wanted to kill her boyfriend, and that his friend was just collateral damage. The prosecutor said the intent was obvious upon seeing that video, that there was only one goal.
You see her driving very calmly and making the right turn, and then all evidence indicates she immediately put the pedal to the metal and drove straight into a building at 100 miles per hour. I think those really demonstrated to us that this was no accident.
And a few days before the crash, she allegedly took the same route to plot the crime. This is where the judge now finds her guilty.
Count 1. Finds the defendant, Mackenzie Sharilla, guilty of murder, to wit Dominic Russo.
She now stands up to be placed in handcuffs as she continues to tear up.
Count 2. Finds the defendant, Mackenzie Sharilla, guilty of murder, to wit Davian Flanagan.
Sharilla now
This is the turning point. In criminal law, everything hinges on what was going on inside her mind in those final seconds. The calm driving, the sudden acceleration, the prior threats, it all builds a narrative. But here's the twist. Courts don't see thoughts, they see patterns. So the real question is, does this pattern prove intent beyond a reasonable doubt, or just tell a convincing story?
has a moment to speak before her sentencing.
The families of Dom and Davia, I'm so deeply sorry. I hope one day you can see I would never let this happen or do it on purpose. I wish I could remember what happened. I'm just so sorry. I'm heartbroken.
There was no medical condition that caused this as an accident. There was no mechanical failure of the car. A failed suicide attempt is not a defense to murder. There's a very good likelihood, Mackenzie, that you will spend the rest of your life in prison. She's sentenced on count 1, 15 years to life. Count 2, 15 years to life, to be served concurrent to each other.
The judge just sentenced her to 15 years to life in prison. This is Aiden Fucci, who pled guilty in court for the murder of his classmate when he was only 14 years old.
We're having fun in a cop car.
Yep.
Fucci was classmates with a 13-year-old girl from Patriot Oaks Academy in St. Johns County, Florida. Fucci stabbed her 114 times. Her dead body was later recovered from the woods. After Fucci was arrested, he can be seen in the back of the cop car taking Snapchats. Now this video shows Fucci and his parents in the interrogation room.
The Snapchat that you did was not very smart.
Like you're all over the internet everywhere. This is serious.
This is very serious.
This is no joke. This is your whole life. Your whole life.
And ours.
And ours.
A video from prosecutors showed Fucci and the girl allegedly walking together right before she was murdered. Then about 90 minutes later, the video shows Fucci allegedly running away from the area where the body was found.
114 stab wounds, 49 defensive wounds, 35 wounds to the head and neck, 29 to the back and shoulder, and 6 fatal wounds.
After Fucci pled guilty to first-degree murder, the judge now hands down his sentence.
Having entered a plea of guilty to the crime of first-degree murder, I sentence you to life in prison. Because of your age, you are eligible for review of the sentence in 25 years.
After Fucci was sentenced, he stood still with a little movement. This is Willard Miller and Jeremy Goodale, and at just 16 years old, they are both charged for the murder of their high school Spanish teacher. Reportedly, it was over a bad grade.
We then moved her
off of the trail, where I then struck her, and she died as a result.
Miller and Goodale went to Fairfield High School in southeastern Iowa. Nohema Graber was the Spanish teacher at the school, and Miller was one of her students. After he received a bad grade from Graber, he and his friend Goodale planned to kill her.
We discussed general plan. I'll stand up here, look out, wait for Miss Graber to show up.
Graber went for her usual walk at Chautauqua City Park. The boys knew that as they stalked her and they waited to ambush her.
Here she comes, and she walked by, hit her in the back of the head, and then I said, "Oh shit, make sure she's dead." So we hit her a couple more times.
They then dragged her into the woods and beat her to death with a baseball bat.
What was the plan after that? There wasn't really a plan beyond that.
Like hide the body, bury the body, save the body?
At that time, we were going to hide the body. I guess in our arrogance, we kind of assumed that nobody would ever find her.
Not long after, both boys were arrested. Court documents allege that the witness who knew Goodale showed law enforcement Snapchat messages that showed Goodale and Miller's involvement in the murder. One of the Snapchat messages saying, "Point of view, you're my Spanish teacher, and this is the last thing you see," followed by "Time to hide a body." Jeremy Goodale would later plead guilty and testify against his best friend Miller.
I understood that he had the intent to kill Mrs. Graber.
What is your plea to murder in the first degree, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
This is the moment that Goodale gets to speak before his sentence.
I've had time to think on what to say, and I'm sorry, truly sorry. Every day I wish I could go back and stop myself. I can't comprehend losing a loved one in such an awful way.
And now the judge hands down his sentence.
The defendants shall be sentenced to life with the possibility of parole after 25 years.
Now for Miller. This is him apologizing before he receives his sentence.
I would like to take this opportunity to wholeheartedly accept responsibility for the role that I've played in the murder of Nohema Graber. To the family, I'm sincerely sorry for the distress that I've caused you and the devastation. And I ask that I'm given a chance, and I don't want to be institutionalized. I don't want to be in so long that I forget about what mattered, where I come from, and I look forward to getting through this.
And now the judge has some final last words.
The defendant, Willard Noble Chaden Miller, should be sentenced to life with the possibility of parole after 35 years.
Miller seems to be completely unfazed. This is Rachel Schoaf and Sheila Eddy, who are both in court today for the murder of their friend when they were only 16 years old.
Their scheme was to hide knives on their bodies and to attack Skylar at an agreed upon moment.
In Star City, West Virginia, Schoaf and Eddy were friends with 16-year-old Skylar Neese. Reportedly, Schoaf and Eddy decided they didn't like Neese anymore, so they planned to kill her.
Sheila Eddy and Rachel Schoaf carried out that plan. Together they stabbed and killed.
By now, a pattern is impossible to ignore: planning, execution, and aftermath behavior. Across every case, the law zeroes in on premeditation event when the defendants are teenagers. So here's the big question: should age reduce responsibility in crimes this extreme, or does intent outweigh everything? Let me know what you think.
Skylar.
After Schoaf's confession, both teens were arrested. Schoaf agreed to plead guilty to second-degree murder in exchange for her cooperation in the case.
I'm so sorry. I don't know if there's a proper way to make this apology because there are not even words to describe the guilt and remorse that I feel each day for what I've done. I hurt the Neese family and those who love Skylar. I hurt my parents and shamed my family. May God bring eternal peace to Skylar and the entire Neese family.
After securing a plea deal, the judge now gives Schoaf her sentence.
Rachel Schoaf, it is the sentence of the court that you be imprisoned in the West Virginia State Penitentiary for a period of 30 years.
But she will have the possibility of parole in 10 years. And now for Eddy.
It is the sentence of the court that you be imprisoned in the West Virginia State Penitentiary for the rest of your natural life. That sentence is technically with mercy, which makes you eligible for parole after you have served 15 years.